The first part of each build, we have a debugging activity. What we have done is identified specific actions that we've consistently seen students struggle with so that we can show them ahead of time issues that they might have and how to correct them. Your students practiced a little bit of debugging with the house algorithm, and now they're going to do debugging of a script that relates to the name poem. So here I have two problems. The first problem is I want the letter A to glide back in line when I click the green flag. What can we do to fix this? The second problem is when I click the A, I don't want to see it glide to the middle of the stage. I just want to see it appear in the middle of the stage. What do I need to change in the script for this to happen? So let's open up the debugging name poem project by clicking the link or typing it into your browser. For each of these debugging activities, we have specific projects that include the debugging challenge and then another project that shows the completed fix to the debugging challenge. Let's click See Inside, and we'll click on the A sprite in the Sprites pane to examine the scripts. You can have your students do this independently, or you can do this as a full class. I always did it as a full class to make sure that everyone understood what the bug was and how to fix it. With some of my more advanced classes, I would give it to them as an independent activity to complete before they started building their project, as most could figure it out and complete it fairly quickly. So when we click the See Inside and click on the A, you will see the Post-it note that describes the two issues that we had in our project. If I scroll over, I can also see the scripts that go along with this sprite. So first, we're going to fix the issue with I want the A to glide back in line with the other letters when I click the green flag. Let's try it. Yep, the A does not move back. Can we help? Absolutely. I can see that my green flag clicked script has a go to XY block, which means the A will go back to a position, but it will not move. I will not see it moving to that position. So I need to replace my go to with a glide to block. But first, I need to put my A sprite back to the position where I want it to start before I replace the go to block with the glide 1 seconds block. Now let's test it out and see if it works. And it does. Great job. On to bug 2. When I click on the A, I don't want to see it glide to the middle of the stage. I just want it to go to the middle of the stage. What needs to be changed? Now we need to look at the when this sprite clicked script. And I see that in this script, I have the glide block. If I want the A just to go to the middle of the stage, I need to replace the glide block with the go to XY block. Right now, the A is in the middle of the stage, so that means I can go ahead and add the go to XY block to my script, and it will have the correct position to move the A to the middle of the stage when I click on it. Let's click the green flag and test this out. My A returns in line with the other letters. And when I click my A, it just goes to the middle of the stage. Perfect. It's fixed. Great job. Debugging challenge completed. Okay, so here is the building guide for your name home. So the first thing you're going to do when you go into Scratch, and this will be the first time that they're going to create a project. So this will be the first time that they are logging into Scratch. They're going to click on create. They're going to put in the title and the instructions and the purpose. So you're going to want to guide them through that, and I'm going to guide you through that too, just so that they do fill everything out correctly. Because up to this point, they have just modified an existing project. They haven't actually created a project from scratch. So they're going to open up Scratch. They're going to create a new project, title, instructions, purpose, see inside, and they're going to pick the letter sprites from the Scratch library to spell the name or whatever they've chosen on their planning pages. They're going to drag the letter sprites to the starting positions and then use the green flag and the go to start them in the same place every time the green flag is clicked. For each sprite, you're also going to create a script that starts with when this sprite clicked, and you're going to add the blocks that you have on your planning page for whichever actions you want, the actions and the adjectives that you want the letter sprites to say. And this building guide is in the students' workbook. So they have this exact thing in the students' workbook. Remind the students that they have 3 different levels of building this project. So the first level is fulfilling all of the basic requirements. And that is that they used letters from the Scratch library, that each sprite says or thinks one adjective about them, that they use a backdrop from the Scratch library. If they want to do a little extra, they can import letters from the internet, and we've got videos on how to do that. They can say or think an adjective that is 2 syllables, or they can even put maybe 2 words, 2 adjectives, and they can import a backdrop into Scratch. If they want a high challenge, they can create their own letters in the Scratch sprite editor, so they can actually draw them themselves. The sprite says or thinks an adjective that's 3 syllables, or 3 adjectives, or even a short sentence. And they edited a backdrop in the Scratch library. So they chose a backdrop, either chose a backdrop from the Scratch library or uploaded a backdrop and then edited it themselves. So they can change things, they can add things to it within the editor, within the Scratch editor. You can change colors in the background, you can add shapes, you can add other pictures, you can do a lot of things. Sorry, go ahead.
By this time, we've taught them how to download, right? That wasn't part of, because we talked about it, but yes,
yeah.
we have.
Okay. Yeah, that was
in the very first lesson.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so other things that you can try, you can make your letters spin by using that changed or the turn by and then change the 15 to whatever you want. You can change the letter size by increase size by and decrease size by, or you can use the different color effects. So you've got change color effect by with this drop list, and I think I showed you yesterday, or no, I didn't. That's right, I was talking to somebody else about this yesterday. In this block, this has got so many cool things. It's got fisheye, it's got pixelate, it's got magnify. So there's a lot of really, really cool things that you can choose with this change effect by in this one. They can add sounds if they want their blocks to make, if they want their letters to make a sound when they move, point and direction, lots of different things to try. These are the extras that they can do that would take them into the 2nd or 3rd column of the rubric. All right, the important thing when you create a project is that you don't have to roar and hiss. You don't have to reload and remix. You only have to share and add to Studio. Because you're starting with a create project, there is no remixing. It is your original project. There is nothing else to do. but you do need to share, because once you create a project, it is private to you until you share it. And then once you share it, you add it to the class studio so that your teacher or your students will add to your studio and see the project.
So can I say something really quick?
Sure.
One thing to talk, maybe you can explain to the teachers who haven't done it, the difference between set size and change size. Because on that debugging, I think the real good thing on the debugging would be if you keep clicking on the eye, it gets huge because it's saying 70 and go back negative 70, but it's not doing that. So
right, exactly. Okay, so if you use a change size by, so if you change it by 10, every single time you click on it, it's going to get bigger, 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 or negative, it'll get smaller until it's minuscule and you can't see it. So if you do that, what you want to do on the green flag script is add a block that says set size to 100 so that you're setting it back to 100% of what it was. So that's similar to like setting the go to XY, setting the position back to the original position. The set size block also sets the sprite size back to its original 100% size, because the number that you put into the circle is changing it by 1%. So it's, if you change size by 10, it means change size by 10%. So the set size you always want to set as set size by 100% in the green flag script to set it back to what it started with in the beginning.
and also how you can change if you import your own sprite, you can set the size to get it smaller too. Like the
Right.
carrots I had were too big, so I had to set the size to smaller to get it to fit proportionally.
You can also do that in the sprites pane. You can set the size in the sprites pane when you bring a sprite in. I think it's better to do it that way rather than including it in a script, because then the size is set consistently throughout the project. Okay. Thank you so much for adding. Yes, definitely. If you've got ideas as we're going along, add them in, because, every little bit helps. There's so many things to learn about Scratch. Okay, so you've got your planning guide. You're going to create a script for each of your letters. It's going to do something, say or think something, and then do another action. Okay, so you've got your planning guide, and you could, if you want, this is another optional turn and talk. If you've got a little bit of time, you can have the kids talk about looking at the rubric and deciding what column they're going to use. With the rubric, the columns are not uniform. You don't have to just follow everything in column 2. They can choose maybe one thing from column 1, one thing from column 3, and one thing from column 2. So it wasn't set so that they either are in column 1, column 2, or column 3. It gives them an option of some additional extensions that they can use based on the different parts of the project.
I just want to make you aware of that symbol next to turn and talk. One year when we were doing the curriculums, teachers thought that once a week wasn't enough. The kids would kind of forget. So they asked if we can find a stopping point in between the lesson. And so many times when you see this symbol in the teaching book, in the teacher's guide, it will give you a good stopping point that you can pick up. So maybe a 25 minute lesson one day on Tuesday and Thursday the other half. So that's what that symbol's for.
Okay, so I'm going to go into Scratch here. So I've logged in. So when like I said, this is the first time that your students are doing the Create project, and they have not done Create before. They've always opened up a link that we've given them, so they've got a project that they're working on. You tell them to make sure that their name shows up here so that they're logged in, because Scratch allows you to create a project even if you're not logged in, and they can do all the work, but if they're not logged in or if they don't log in, then everything will be lost. So it's always key to have them log in first. Then they're going to click on Create.
And maybe we all could do it together. So if you do this in front of your students, maybe you can guide them as we do it. So you can create your project right now as well if you guys are logged in.
Yeah, that would be a great idea. Go ahead and log into Scratch, and we'll walk through the steps together. Okay, so once you are in, like I said, click Create. And this is where you're going to do the share and add to studio. So a lot of times the kids are just so anxious to start working on their project right away, they start dragging blocks over. But make sure that they name their project. So, my new name poem. And again, the name should be something that relates to what the project's about. And then share so that it can be seen. That takes you out here. And that's the nice thing about the share button. It takes you out to this page, and they're going to put the instructions. They can put the instructions now, they can put the instructions later, but it's always, good. They know what it's going to happen. Click each. Oops. Okay, so I put in my instructions to the users, click each letter to see what happens, and my purpose to show what I know about sequence and events, because that is what this project's about. All right, and then add to studio. So make sure that you are adding it to the studio. I have a lot of studios here. It's YouTube name poem. And okay.
Or if you guys beat Sue to it, adding your project to the studio.
And once you've added it to the studio, then click the see inside. And you're going to add your letter sprites. So this is where the kids would use their building guide sprites. And there is a category of letters right here on the top. So you can just click on letters and it will take you there. And there's 1, 2, 3 different versions or formats of letters. So first thing you want to do is add all your letters.
When we add it to the studio, it will go under Unit 2 name poem.
Yes. Yes.
Something to mention, I don't remember who did it yesterday, but we realized that she couldn't find the studio, I think, or she found the studio, but she couldn't find her project and what was happening. And I was wondering if this is for the kids as well.
Right. So you can always do add to.
Okay, wait, but she did that and it didn't add it to the
it
studio.
didn't add. Okay.
So that's why we finally kind of went back to the beginning of it and then actually added it to the studio, and then she found it.
Right. The best way to, I don't know why that doesn't work. I've had that problem too. The best way to add it is through the project page with the button add to studio.
Does that appear for the students as well, or is it just the teacher? Oh,
no, it appears for the students. This is the best way to do it. This way it always works. If you do it through the My Stuff with that add to, I've had the same problem where I've added it to something and then it doesn't show up. So yeah, it's best just to add it through the button. Let me put my letters back. So you should all have your letters in. And once you get your letters in, you can get rid of the scratch cat sprite. So just click on the sprite and on the corner, and it will get rid of it. So go ahead and build your projects. We're going to give you a little bit of time right now. And so remember, for each letter, so you click on the letter, you need to have a green flag script and a when this sprite clicks script. So go ahead and create your scripts and projects.